You're watching Ember Youth. Subscribe today. Uh, uh.
All right, what's up, peeps? Welcome to week 2 of our Ecclesiastes devotional. Today we're going to be jumping into chapter 2 of Ecclesiastes. And my question to you today is this: what is something that you enjoy? Simple question: what is something that you enjoy? I know a lot of you like watching anime. Some of you like playing League or video games. For myself, I like a bunch of things. I like enjoying food. I like enjoying working out, spending time with my wife. What are some of the things that you enjoy? Because we're going to be talking about some of that today in chapter 2. There's 3 parts. In chapter 2, the first part says there is vanity of self indulgence. And then the second part says the vanity of living wisely. And then finally, it says the vanity of toil. And that word vanity basically means it is kind of fruitless or worthless. It's meaningless. It's in vain. And it's kind of weird because at first, the writer says he tried all these things, indulging himself, basically being a glutton. He says, I'm going to test life with pleasure, enjoy myself. And he said that was vanity, that was meaningless. He basically had all he wanted, all kinds of stuff and materials, and he built a bunch of things, and he had slaves, and he just had a lot of material wealth, indulging himself. And he said that wasn't enough. The second part, so that first part didn't work out about trying to indulge himself. And the second part was he tried to become somebody the opposite of that, the opposite of a glutton, somebody wise. So he tried to seek and to learn and to become really knowledgeable. But that also, he said, was kind of vanity because the wise person, just like a fool, they're all going to meet the same maker. They're going to meet death after this life. And then finally, he says that there was the vanity of toil, just kind of going to work 9 to 5 every day, getting a paycheck, and basically you work all your life, and at the end of it, you have nothing to show for it. You also meet death. And so, not to depress you, not to discourage you, because that really kind of seems bleak. So, what is the purpose to it all? And a key verse here is chapter 2, verse 24. It says, "There is nothing better for a person than that he should eat and drink and find enjoyment in his toil. This also I saw is from the hand of God. For apart from him, who can eat or who can have enjoyment? For to the one who pleases him, God has given wisdom and knowledge and joy. But to the sinner he has given the business of gathering and collecting, only to give to the one who pleases God. This also is vanity and a striving after the wind." So that's really interesting. It says that there's nothing better for a person than to eat and drink and to enjoy his work. He said that this is from God. And apart from God, how can you really find any satisfaction in life? And so I think in that, it's easy to read a little bit too much into it. It's not just saying, you know what, just enjoy this life. There's nothing after this anyway. That's not what it's saying. And it's not saying that, you should just kind of blow off and just live for today. That's not what it's saying. But it is saying that God gives good gifts. And the fact that he gives these common things of, food and drink, and also the a joy of labor, of working, like this is all just a common grace from God. People can experience it. And I think this is something that we should be thankful for. And I think there's a good point here because I think there are some days that we want, so much from this life, so much expectations, or if things don't go our way. And I think sometimes it's just good to remind ourselves that God made all of this and God gave us simple pleasures to enjoy. Like, for instance, today, I got some boba tea and I stopped by, my boba tea spilled, and then I stopped by a sushi restaurant. Shout out to Ellie's Place, Hana Matsuri, Westminster. So, just I had some sushi, I had some boba, I ate and drank and did some work, and I should be satisfied and content in it. And so I think this section is speaking more about the fact that we should enjoy life, that we should be grateful for the simple gifts that God gives, because it's super easy to take some of these things for granted. The fact that most of us can have these gifts of eating, of drinking, of working. Maybe a lot of you, it might be school, or a lot of, well, for others of you, you might have a part time job. The fact that these things are from God, I think, is a good reminder for us that, hey, we shouldn't be taking these things for granted. And all of these things hopefully point us to the fact that there is a God that gives us these good gifts. So it's not a bad thing. We shouldn't feel guilty for trying to enjoy it. We shouldn't feel like it's like, obviously we can go one extreme and be like super gluttonous and try to make all of our life about food or about enjoyment or pleasure. That's not what he's saying. And also, don't go the other way of just trying to be this kind of monk where you try to separate yourself from the world, but just in moderation, to just for today, as you have a lunch or dinner, maybe enjoy a drink with your parents or family. Just remember, hey, this is from God. This is a good thing, and I hope that will encourage you. That will remind you every time you chomp into a delicious burger, or drink a soda or a boba tea, or next time you work, or do something productive, to know that, hey, you know what? I am doing all these things because in me enjoying it, it's bringing glory to God. He gave me some of these things to enjoy, and by me enjoying it, I am living basically the fullness of being a human made in God. And so I hope that encourages you today. And so just a few closing question or two, I would say, is what do you find enjoyment in? And in those things, how can you give thanks to God? For me today, I need to be thankful, right? I can't take for granted that I got some delicious sushi and some awesome boba, and also had some opportunity to do ministry, and for that I should be grateful. So what can you be grateful for today? So that's the end of today. Hopefully you guys tune in next week. Invite a friend. Trying to get to 30 subscribers. If we can get to 30, I promise the Ember Youth I will make a league account. So with that, I am out. Thanks.